Hi guys, today's topic about LPR means laryngopharyngeal reflex. This reflex is caused by the backflow of gastric contents into the upper aerodigestive tract. Is frequently diagnosed as cause of the throat symptom in the ENT patients, because in ENT most common throat soreness coming from LPR. The first described by Kaufman in 1991. In esophagus, a degree of gastroesophageal reflex is considered physiologically normal as long as the exposure time does not exceed 5% in 24 hours. If you consider why LPR is happening to us, there are different anatomy between the larynx and the esophagus. As you know, so esophagus is resilient squamous epithelial lining, so that the acid reflux does not damage much in the esophagus, but in the larynx there is very delicate squamous epithelium over the laryngopharynx. That's why acid reflux can damage the larynx frequently than the esophagus. As in esophagus there is peristalsis, so that whatever acid is refluxing, it again goes back to the stomach. But in laryngopharynx, in larynx mainly, there is no peristalsis. In esophagus there is neutralizing capacity of acid bolus, but in larynx there is no neutralizing bicarbonate available in the larynx, so that it can neutralize the reflex bolus, so that larynx is affected more than the esophagus in LPR. Tissue damage is thought to be mediated by activated pepsin. This LPR is mainly pepsin derived disease, not by the HCl derived disease. It is not acid which leading the LPR. It is the pepsin, activated pepsin of the stomach leading to LPR symptoms. Can occur very rapidly within maybe as brief as 30 seconds 3 times per week. If activated pepsin is coming to the larynx, 30 seconds only 3 times per week lead to LPR. The reflux disease that affect the laryngopharynx are one form of extraesophageal reflux. LPR events often occur in the upright rather than the supine position. In GRD, there is supine position is more commonly affecting the esophagus, but in LPR, it is supine position which is affecting the larynx. Although GORD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, and LPR, laryngopharyngeal reflux, may exist independently, as disease severity increases, the both type being present simultaneously can be present independently as well as simultaneously. Reflex episode may involve significant volume of liquid gastric contents, particularly in the lower esophagus, but in the LPR may be mainly gaseous containing of fine aerosol droplet leading to LPR symptom. As GRD because of liquid content of the stomach, but LPR mainly because of gaseous content of pepsin, activated pepsin, or maybe fine aerosol of the droplet leading to LPR. Once the aerosol has reached to laryngopharynx, it then has easy access to the nose, nasopharynx and lower respiratory tract leading to aspiration or symptom of the LPR. LPR diagnosis mainly clinical and history taking only, or sometimes we add flexible or rigid endoscopy of the laryngopharynx. If after treatment symptom doesn't resolve, then we have to go for failure to respond the treatment. We need further investigation. I will tell you on this further on. The symptom mainly are LPR as dysphonia, swallowing difficulties, globus feeling of lump in the throat is most common presentation, throat tickling, clearing, sore throat, cough, choking, thick mucus in the throat, or you can see postnasal drip also. Laryngospasm, cough, syncope are common symptoms of LPR. So you have to remember the symptomatology of the LPR. The cause of laryngeal inflammation may be reflux disease, sometimes smoking or inhaled irritants, alcohol, allergy, voice abuse, and virus infections also. There is some symptom index. You can say some symptom of to identify and to grade the reflex symptom index or grade the LPR. So these are 9 common symptoms according to grade from mild to severity. Grading is 0 to 5. If we see hoarseness or change in the voice, first 0 to 5, throat clearing, PND, excess throat mucus, difficulty in swallowing, coughing after meal or lying down, breathing difficulties or choking episode, troublesome or annoying cough, globus sensation and heartburn and chest pain. Score may be 0 to 5. 0 means no problem and 5 means severe problem. So this 9 symptoms you can identify on reflex symptom index. If score is more than 15, it means more chances of LPR. Symptom more than 15, more chances of LPR. The examination finding on laryngoscopy. If you do endoscopy of laryngopharynx, then we can identify the reflex finding scores. On laryngoscopy, there is reflex finding score. You can see intraglottic edema, or you can see pseudo sulcus vocalis, ventricular obliteration, arrhythmia, hyperemia, vocal fold edema, diffuse laryngeal edema, posterior commissure hypertrophy, granulation, or thick endolaryngeal mucus are classical finding on laryngoscopy. You can judge by reflex finding score also. No single sign appear to be pathognomic of LPR. However, the presence of pseudosulcus or linkage edema in symptomatic patient may be an indicator of LPR. Pseudosulcus or linkage edema is common finding. If sometimes can be considered just as indicator of LPR. The investigation may be imaging. Barium swallow is still useful to rule out other pathology like pharyngeal pouch. Functional test, we can do Bernstein acid perfusion test, but not required right now. If you are giving acid and symptoms similar to GORD, you can rule out cardiac disease. Pepsin testing is mandatory, but it's very diagnostic. Invasive procedure. You have to take biopsy and go for pepsin test in lab, but that is not required nowadays. Pep test is now available for the presence of pepsin in pharyngeal secretion. This is entirely non-invasive and easy and relatively cheap test. A positive result is strongly predictive of LPR, although negative result does not exclude. So pep test is very useful. It is non-invasive, can be done on laryngeal secretion. If it is positive, it is almost sure test of LPR. Now pH and impedance monitoring. 4 episode in 24 hour, pH less than 4. pH 4 episode of less than 4 pH is considered of high reflex. In multi-channel interluminal impedance monitoring can be added to dual channel pH monitoring, which is increased diagnostic accuracy by recording all reflex events. Now, so it is mainly pepsin disease. So pep test is almost your test of the pepsin. You can do pH monitoring also. Now treatment. Treatment mainly consider diet and lifestyle advices like what? Give up the smoking. You have to quit smoking and alcohol. Avoid carbonated drinks like Coke and Pepsi. Reduce caffeine intake. Avoid fatty foods and elevate the head of the bed night about 6 to 8 inches. How much? 6 to 8 inches you have to keep elevated your head during sleep. Medical treatment. No drug which can act directly against the pepsin, which is thought a causative agent. Proton pump inhibitors are the treatment of choice for patients with GORD, which is thought to be acid mediated, but in LPR their effect is at least indirectly by raising the gastric pH to reduce activation of pepsin by cleavage of pepsinogen. So this LPR is pepsin mediated disease. It is mainly because of pepsin. So PPI induce the less activation of this pepsin by reducing pH, by increasing pH, so that this pepsinogen cannot convert into pepsin. So we have less pepsin in the stomach and less LPR symptoms. Barrier agents like alginate can be used to protect the mucosa of esophagus and upper aerodigestive tract. This is the LPR treatment protocols. LPR treatment, you have to first do diet and lifestyle advices. Grading is mild, moderate or severe according to symptomatology. If it is mild symptom, lifestyle and alginate is more than sufficient. If it is moderate, then low dose of PPI, about 20 mg pantoprazole is sufficient. You can add alginate also. And severe disease, you have to give high dose like 40 mg BD pantoprazole plus alginate. You have to give this therapy about 2 to 3 months, then reassess the patient and you can step down the therapy according to the symptomatology of the patient. The step down protocol is 2 months each. Pantoprazole 40 mg BD for 2 months, followed by decreased to 20 mg BD and 20 mg OD after 2 months. So this is about 6-month protocols. Alginate are normally given after meals and just before retiring at night. So alginate should be given after meal, or you can take just before 30 minutes before going to bed. The anti-reflux surgery may be considered in resistant cases. So if patient not treated by this medication or not relieved by medication, you can think about surgery, mainly laparoscopic fundoplications. These are Nissen's fundoplication, which is most commonly done procedure. About 360 degree fundus wrapping is done in this procedure. Second procedure, 270 degree, you can do Tophet fundoplication. Tophet, you can say Tophet fundoplication. And newest one is Colles gastroplasty. In this Colles gastroplasty, a technique used to lengthen a shortened esophagus. It is indicated if on manometry there is pressure of lower esophageal sphincter less than 6 mmHg, or overall length of the lower sphincter less than 2 cm, and abdominal length of esophagus or lower esophageal sphincter less than 1 cm. So these are surgery can be considered in LPR as well as in GORD. So these are Tophet fundoplication, Colles gastroplasty and anti-reflux surgery, Nissen fundoplication. Thank you.